Look up. Above the clouds, beyond the blue, something vast is happening. Our planet is wrapped in a sphere of human achievement. Thousands of satellites hum with purpose. They connect our calls. They guide our journeys. They watch our weather. They are the invisible architecture of modern life. But this architecture is surrounded by ghosts. For every working satellite, there are countless dead ones. There are spent rocket stages. There are fragments from past collisions. A forgotten wrench, a flake of paint, a cloud of frozen coolant, all orbit the Earth at incredible speeds. This is space junk, and it is a problem that is growing piece by piece, day by day. We have been launching objects into space for nearly 70 years. We filled the void with our ambition and ingenuity, but we seldom brought our creations back. We treated low Earth orbit like an infinite wilderness, a place that could absorb our leftovers without consequence. We were wrong. The sky is not limitless. It is a finite resource. Each piece of debris, no matter how small, is a bullet in a cosmic shooting gallery. A nut-sized object carries the kinetic energy of a hand grenade. It travels many times faster than a rifle bullet. It is a silent menace. There is a specific name for the ultimate danger we face. It was conceived by a NASA scientist named Donald J. Kessler back in 2009. No, wait. Actually, he saw the future with stunning clarity back in 1978. He called it the Kessler Syndrome. It is a simple, terrifying idea, a chain reaction. Imagine one collision in orbit. A dead satellite, a large piece of rocket debris. The impact shatters both objects into thousands of smaller pieces. Each new fragment becomes a projectile. Each one is now capable of causing its own collision. This cloud of shrapnel expands, increasing the probability of more impacts. One crash can trigger two can trigger four. This is not a theoretical explosion. It is a cascade of destruction that unfolds over years, or even decades. The debris field grows exponentially. The risk to every active satellite in that orbital band rises dramatically. Eventually, the density of junk can become so high that certain orbits become unusable. They become a permanent no-go zone, a wall of whizzing metal that is too dangerous to traverse. Launching new satellites through this zone would be like playing Russian roulette. Keeping existing satellites operational would become an impossible task. The cascade, once it truly begins, is almost impossible to stop. It feeds on itself, a self-perpetuating storm of our own making. We have already had a taste of this. In 2009, a defunct Russian military satellite collided with an active American communications satellite. The event was catastrophic. It created over 2,000 pieces of trackable debris and likely hundreds of thousands of smaller, untrackable fragments. That single event instantly increased the amount of dangerous junk in a very popular and useful orbit. It was a wake-up call, a stark demonstration that the Kessler Syndrome is not just a theory. It is a clear and present danger. The consequences would be profound. Imagine a world without reliable GPS. Imagine weather forecasting becoming a guessing game again. Imagine international communication breaking down. The tools that underpin our global economy and our scientific understanding rely on the safety of Earth's orbit. Losing that access would be like a civilization suddenly forgetting how to use the sea. We would be marooned on our own planet, cut off from the vital infrastructure we built in the heavens. The Kessler Syndrome is not just an engineering problem. It is a threat to the continuity of modern civilization as we know it. A threat that circles over our heads, waiting for a moment of catastrophic intersection. This is not a future problem. It is a problem of today. The International Space Station must regularly perform avoidance maneuvers. It must dodge tracked debris to protect the astronauts aboard. Satellite operators live with constant low-level anxiety. A single, unlucky collision could knock out a vital communications network. It could disrupt global financial systems. It could blind our ability to monitor climate change. The trash we left behind is now threatening the very tools that allow us to thrive. The time for simply observing this problem is over. The time for action is now. The urgency is palpable. So, how do we fight back against this growing cloud of debris? We cannot just send up cosmic garbage trucks with big scoops. The physics are far more challenging. Engineers and scientists around the world are building an array of cleanup tools. These are the instruments of the future orbital cleanup crew: harpoon, magnetic net, ion beam shepherd. Harpoon: a chaser satellite approaches a large piece of derelict junk like an old rocket body, takes aim and fires a barbed projectile. The harpoon impales and secures a physical connection. Once tethered, the chaser uses thrusters to perform a deorbit burn, acting like a space tugboat and dragging the object to a lower orbit. Atmospheric drag then pulls the junk into a final fiery re-entry over an unpopulated area, usually the Pacific Ocean. Harpoons are great for large, sturdy, stable objects, a brute force solution. Magnetic net: a spacecraft deploys a wide net to envelop debris or even a small cloud of fragments. Magnets at the corners clamp to metal, or the net constricts to trap the junk. The chaser reels it in, or uses engines to drag the whole package down. Nets are versatile, good for awkward or spinning pieces. Ion beam shepherd: no contact. The shepherd flies alongside debris at a precise distance and fires a focused ion beam. The beam exerts a tiny constant pressure, like a steady, gentle wind. Over weeks or months, this nudges the orbit enough to re-enter. Perfect for fragile objects that would shatter if grabbed. Developing these tools is one thing. Using them effectively in the harsh reality of space is another. The primary challenge is speed. Objects in low Earth orbit are not just floating, they are screaming through the void at roughly 17,500 miles per hour, about 8 kilometers per second. Intercepting and capturing something moving that fast requires incredible precision. A chaser satellite must match the target's orbit and velocity perfectly. A miscalculation of even a fraction of a degree can lead to a high-speed collision. That collision could create more debris than it removes. It's like trying to grab a specific bullet out of the air with another bullet. The targets themselves present another immense difficulty. They are not cooperative. Many are derelict satellites. Many are spent rocket stages, tumbling uncontrollably. They spin, they wobble on multiple axes, making them incredibly difficult to approach and grab. A harpoon might miss or strike a weak point and break it apart. A net might get tangled or be torn by a sharp protruding antenna. Before any capture attempt, the chaser robot must observe the target and map its rotation, then predict its movement. This requires sophisticated sensors, powerful processors, and autonomous software that can make split-second decisions far from human control. This effort isn't from a single agency. It's a global race with diverse players. Small, agile startups, university labs, private workshops, large aerospace corporations, NASA, ESA, JAXA. The cost of failure is almost too high to contemplate. If we do not get this right, if we allow the Kessler Syndrome to take hold, we risk transforming our greatest frontier into an impassable wall. The dream of space exploration, of becoming a multiplanetary species, of unlocking the universe's secrets, depends on our ability to simply leave our own planet. If low Earth orbit becomes an impenetrable minefield of debris, that dream dies. Future missions to the Moon, to Mars, and beyond would become prohibitively dangerous and expensive. The gateway to the stars would slam shut, locked by the trash we left at the doorstep. But the stakes are not just about far-flung exploration. Our daily lives would be irrevocably altered. The satellite infrastructure we depend on for so much would crumble. Global commerce, weather prediction, disaster response, scientific research, we would be taking a giant technological step backward, confined to our planet and stripped of the global perspective that space has given us. This is the choice before us. We can either invest in the solutions to clean our orbital backyard, or we can accept a future where the sky is a barrier instead of a bridge. The work to clean up space is not a luxury, it is an act of planetary self-preservation. Yet within this challenge lies immense opportunity. The effort to clean our orbit can spur a new economy: orbital logistics, salvage, repair. The same robots designed to capture debris could be adapted to service and refuel friendly satellites, extending their lives and making space operations more sustainable. We can learn to build satellites differently, with built-in deorbiting capabilities or standardized grappling fixtures. The act of cleaning up our past mistakes can teach us how to be better, more responsible stewards of space for the future, transforming the orbital environment from a junkyard into a managed, sustainable, and thriving ecosystem. The moment to decide is now. The path forward is clear, though it is not easy. We have the tools. We have the brilliant minds working on the problem. What we need is a collective global will. We need to act fast, to fund the missions, and scale up the technology from experiment to operation. We need to build smart, designing sustainability into every future launch, and we must work together to protect the sky as a shared resource for all humanity. Let us not be the generation that closed off the final frontier. Let us be the one that cleaned it, secured it, and kept the gateway to the cosmos wide open for all who follow.